Masquerades in Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel Zim Confessions and Tip Secrets. Kanakari channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, but don't forget to comment and share this video. Masquerades Zimbabwe, Tawigirai, Nyabuditwa, ne UK best Zimbabwean lawyer, Yanoz Brighton, Mutebuka or Yabuda Stora E. Achiti, hazina kumira mushe pakati pa President Mnangagwa pamwechete na Vice President Chiwenga. Zvinhu vese vari kuda kutonga muri Zimbabwe nyaya yabuda mushure mekunge President Mnangagwa vakabuda vachiclaima kuti is not seeking a third term ari muoffice, and vamutebuka vabuda vachiti this statement haisi kufanira kutorwa seriously nemazimbabweans. Tofunga takaona ZANU-PF masvingo vachibuda vachitaura ivo vachiti they want President Mnangagwa kuti vatonge kusvika 2030 zvichinzi nyangwe nezvavakataura vachiti vari kuretire, they are going to make sure kuti vataura naPresident Mnangagwa vaextend term limit yavo reZimbabwe. And this UK-based lawyer abuda achitaura iye achiti Mnangagwa is now racing against time, and he has to execute the plan yake yekuti aramba ari mupower until 2020 runs within the next 18 months. Akabuda achinyora on his X yendo akabuda achitaura achiti ED and Chiwenga final showdown. Age is closer as Brinksman nears grand finale. And one is the worst kept secret in town. It's a poorly scripted show. It's about to take off. It could only have been kept in the shadows for so long. It started with the Fars-led and ZEC-assisted electoral haste in August 2023, and is progressed via the unleashing of shameless proxy, Shabangu, and these surrogates in decimating the then only viable political opposition in the then Chamisa-led CCC. And once that mission has been accomplished, the next natural and logical step was always going to be managing the internal mechanics of ZANU-PF. This is the phase that we have now reached, and the most dangerous yet. As previously opened, ED's path to retaining power is perilous. This is because at all material times he has to show his hand. It is he who has to officially and publicly seek to get an endorsement to be ZANU-PF's next presidential candidate. It is he who has to openly command the machinery of the state to overcome the formidable constitutional obstacles in his path. In all this, Chiwenga is the insurgent. He will remain unscrutable. He will play the fool just like ED did while plotting against Bob, biding his time and perfecting his art until the moment is ripe. So ED's hand in being forced by his shrinking political clock, which dictates the necessity of executing key and calculated political steps to beat the deadline imposed by the expiry of his term in 2028. In actual effect, given where we are now, he has to execute his mission with deadly precision and ruthlessness within the next 18 months or so, if he is to have the chance of seeing it through. I have always argued that I've also urged that the odds are heavily stacked against him. At the very least, constitutionally, at least even with the benefit of Malaba in his corner, the route to his endgame is highly combustible. Then there is the added political intrigue that arises from the inevitable and high-octane pitting of Willie Deep State actors on the either side in dangerous duels in Zimbabwe's equivalent of ancient Rome's Colosseum. The more political scandals tumble out of ED's political closet, cue the current and previous state capture and corruption scandals, the more ED will be primed to fight to the death, given the fear he is likely to face over the potential consequences of a catastrophic loss of power. So when the dual pits alpha male against alpha male, one thing clear from ED's Mutare speech is that he did not expressly and officially endorse or identify Chiwenga as his successor. This despite the Blood Brothers narrative they have sought to portray over many years. I previously commented that there was something childish about ED's Chikomba speech, where he did a roll call of his cabinet and asked it to line up and endorse his third-term agenda via chanting a slogan in front of Chiwenga, before holding and hoisting Chiwenga's hand while bizarrely and needlessly introducing him as Zim's VP, as if such an introduction was necessary or appropriate, either in that moment or in Chikomba, of all places. I consider that roll call to be blood-curdling, reckless, extremely proactive and dangerous to a T. Brazenly executed in broad daylight in Chiwenga's home ground on his own turf. It's difficult not to interpret it as a crude but powerful attempt at subjugation and projection of untrammeled power. The stream of choreography we are now witnessing, from General Sanyatwe's reckless utterance to the cacophony of deafening alarm bells from the Bochava Apostolic Passover charade, is part of the act of intimidating all internal opponents in ZANU-PF. There are also attempts of generating massive goodwill and performance legitimacy from the gullible through a sustained flary campaign of public works, such as road repairs, new buildings, other ED works, to generate a sense of indispensability or creation of a messianic complex and justify the 2030 project, as if another ZANU-PF candidate can continue on the same trajectory. And the more many organs of ZANU-PF and state officials join the chorus, the more the third-term agenda is presented as a fait accompli to the likes of Chiwenga, so that they can be psychologically wiped into line to manipulate without any further salvos being fired, thereby achieving another version of a bloodless palace reverse coup. ED's Mutare Juice speech reference to a party-chosen successor is opposed to a carefully scripted Chiwenga coronation dramatically and powerfully demonstrated the fissures in their claimed close relationship. It is not a subtilighting rod to ED's lieutenant, and the politically discerning, the equivalent of Prof. Moyo, then explosive BBC Ad Talk interview, when he declared that ED's then elevation to the state vice president did not mean that he was sure in Bob's successor. So we have our answer to the Mutare Juice speech. ED simply wanted to lure in his ambitions rivals into choppy waters in a false sense of security, while unfurling the old and worn-out dictator's script presenting to be reluctant and unwilling to stay in power, while secretly marshalling their proxies to continue pushing their naked political ambition from behind the scenes. In scenes akin to the deadly game of Russian roulette, ED has efficiently raised the stakes and marked his territory, daring Chiwenga to enter the dungeon and settle their score. At the same point, the latter will have to take the plunge, which is when it will become hair-raising and cause teeth to garnish. If it previously never was, it's now immediately clear that the much-vaunted coup protocol either never existed or was never taken seriously by ED. ED is going nowhere. Battle lines are now drawn everywhere, in SADC, in ZANU-PF, and all state institutions. The unfinished business of November 2017 has returned to haunt Zimbabwe. The showdown is looming. It's how ED's political journey was always going to unfold. He was always incapable of giving up power voluntarily. Had his Mutare speech been sincere, we would have been tectonic shift in Zimbabwe's political terrain through losing his grip over party and state affairs, genuine delegation of power decentralization, and the lowering of political temperature. Instead, we have seen the exact opposite, you'd think it was ED's first term. There are so many political scandals engulfing ED as to disincentivize him from vacating the seat of power. One gets the impression that he is committed to rolling the political dice to the bitter end. Virtually every current political event in Zim seems to be attributable to the intractable succession saga, from mysterious arson to senseless arrest of political opponents, and exceptionally cruel and prolonged denial of bail, even to the disabled and infants. Such daring heartlessness and callousness. We are also increasingly seeing the unusual spectacle of children of high-profile regime officials getting arrested, which heightens the political intrigue involved. It's a bumpy road ahead. Everyone needs to buckle up and fasten their seatbelts, especially leading protagonists and those around them. Tozabudi achitaura na Brighton Tebuka mule Zimbabwe achitaura iye achiti ED hapana kwaari kuenda. Zvinzi but Chiwenga ari kuzviona and is waiting for his time kuti atake. Tisingazoti munoona sei nyaya yetudzo zvamuri kufunga pamusoro penyaya iyi mu comment section.